I am Sakafusi, and you are in the coolest FPL channel. The double game week 25 is official, and chaos is everywhere. Who should I use my assistant manager chip on? Should I bring in players from Aston Villa? Should I sell a Liverpool player to get slot? I've already used my AM on Moyes. What do I do now? We will answer all these questions right away. This is my team. We will be using it as an example because it's a common team with 3 Liverpool players. I used the triple captain on solo last game week, and I haven't activated the assistant manager chip yet. What should I do? I have 3 options. 1. Activate the assistant manager. 1A. Use it on Emery without selling any Liverpool players. 1B. Use it on slot by selling a Liverpool player. 2. Don't activate the assistant manager. Regardless of whether I choose option 1 or 2, I also need to decide whether to buy an Aston Villa player. Let's go through all the scenarios one by one and calculate the expected points to find the best possible decision. Scenario 1. Activating the assistant manager. 1A. Choosing Emery. In this case, I don't need to sell any Liverpool players, so Gakpo stays in the team. Expected points from Gakpo in double game week 25, 6.75 points. Expected points from Emery in game week 25, 13.93 points. If I use the chip on Emery, I won't keep him for the following game weeks. The best manager for game weeks 26 and 27 is Postecoglou with an expected 15.59 points. In game week 26, I will also replace Gakpo with Jackson, who has an expected 10.7 points. Total points in this scenario: 6.8 Gakpo plus 13.9 Emery plus 15.6, Postecoglou plus 10.7 Jackson equals 47 points. This scenario requires 2 transfers, 1 for Postecoglou, 1 for Jackson. Total 47 points and 2 transfers. 1B. Choosing slot. To pick slot, I must sell 1 Liverpool player. Let's assume I sell Gakpo for Watkins. Expected points for Watkins in the next 3 game weeks, 21.1 points. Expected points for slot in game week 25, 29.3 points. Total points in this scenario: 21.1 Watkins plus 29.3 slot equals 50.4 points. And I've only used 1 transfer. Backhand index pointing right conclusion, scenario 1B is better than 1A. So, if you haven't activated the AM yet, it's better to sell Gakpo and get slot instead of Emery. Scenario 2. Not activating the assistant manager. In this case, I keep Gakpo for game week 25, 6.8 points. In game weeks 26 and 27, I sell Gakpo for Jackson, 10.7 points. Total points in this scenario: 6.8 plus 10.7 is equal to 17.5 points. In scenario 1B, I had 50.4 points. The difference is 50.4 minus 17.5 is equal to 32.9 points. So for scenario 2 to be worth it, I need to find a future 3-game stretch where the AM chip will give me at least 32.9 points. Is there such a period? In game weeks 31, 32, and 33, slot is expected to get 26.50 points. That's not enough. However, game week 33 is likely to be a double game week for teams that reach the FA Cup semifinals. Ideally, Liverpool makes the semifinals, giving them a double game week. If another team has a double game week, we can use slot for 31 and 32, and then switch to a DGW manager in 33. Would this be enough to cover the 32.9 points gap? Maybe, but it's a risk. Final decision tree. 1. If you don't already have 3 Liverpool players, then pick slot now. 2. If you have 3 Liverpool players, wait and see if Trent Alexander-Arnold is injured. If he's unavailable, sell him and pick slot. 3. If you haven't used the triple captain yet, play it on Salah and save the AM chip for later. Liverpool may not have another double game week, so using triple captain Salah in a DGW is a must. For if you have 3 Liverpool players, Trent is healthy, and you've already used triple captain, either sell Gakpo and play AM on slot now, or keep the AM chip for the future. Special case, if you already used AM on Moyes. If you have 3 Liverpool players, pick Emery. Unless Trent is injured, then sell him and pick Slot. 2. If you don't have 3 Liverpool players, pick Slot. Translation: regardless of which strategy you choose regarding the assistant manager, you also need to decide whether to buy Aston Villa players or not. This is a difficult question to answer because it depends on your team, budget, and available transfers. However, we will outline the key principles behind this decision and provide some examples. First, let's assume that the 2 most viable Aston Villa players to consider are Watkins and Rodgers. Their expected points for Gameweek 25 are: Rodgers, 7.6 points, Watkins, 11 points. Starting with Rodgers, let's say you have a player in your team you're not very happy with, like Ahmad or Gordon. These 2 players have an expected score of 3.7 points in Gameweek 25. Meanwhile, Rodgers is expected to get 7.6 points. That means Rodgers would give you an extra 3.9 points. Is that enough? If you plan to keep Rodgers long-term, then yes, 3.9 points is a reasonable boost. However, if you plan to sell him soon, investing 2 transfers, 1 to buy, 1 to sell, for just 3.9 extra points isn't worth it. In that case, it's better to save your transfer for later or buy a long-term player such as a Bournemouth midfielder who is in good form with a favorable schedule. If you don't have a free transfer, it's obvious that you should not take a -4 hit for Rodgers. Since his expected gain is only 3.9 points, you would immediately lose out. What about Watkins? Watkins has 11 expected points. Let's say you sell Wood, Mateta, or Jackson. These players have an expected score of 4 points. Watkins has 11 points, meaning your net gain is 7 points. Even if you plan to sell Watkins soon, 7 points is a significant boost, which you won't easily find with other transfers later. If you have a free transfer, selling your forward for Watkins is a great move. However, if you have to take a -4 hit, I would say no. Final thoughts. That was the video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them in the comments. Videos like this take a huge amount of time to make. I'd really appreciate a like or a sub.